So I don't know why let's just not go over this gold because like that's just gonna waste time here. Today we're going over back testing. I already started it because I have to fucking if I want to start a new thing, you have to the settings gets all cooked and shit. I have to like do all the settings. But I started on the first of a month because I think that's a good thing to start at. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So the way I'm gonna do this, I'm going to back this what year? This is 2024. 2024. Your screen froze? What? No, you're tripping. I think. Oh no, hold on. I'm not showing the right screen. Jesus. Hold on. What about now? Hold on, it's not loading yet, I don't think. Alright, what about now? Y'all can see it, right? Yeah, it's good. Alright, bet. Yeah, so I'm gonna like go through a day of price action and then you guys are going to ask questions about it if you guys have any questions and then we'll just go to the next day, right? So what day is this? So first thing we look at is like the previous day's close. So just look at this overall PA. It looks logical for why this is like a bullish week in general. Nice close the previous week, but when I look at this price action when we engage with this high, what kind of phase of price do we get? Pretty. It looks like exactly like a retracement signature, right? We're like leaving all these highs. This is actually pretty clean. Well, it's not clean. The retracement is not clean, but the logic for longs is clean, like this day, for example, because it looks like we have an SMT the previous day actually. All right, so this would have been a great day to long, but unfortunately we didn't start on that day. But let's see if we can catch up. So we see that NQ took out this high. Let's see if these assets can catch up. I honestly like this for a pretty one-sided narrative for this asset to catch up. The middle asset, here's the weakest asset over here. The middle asset could definitely catch up. I don't know about this one, but let's go to calendar Thursday. All right, we got to filter out medium. We don't want medium. So this is the 1st of March, or is it the March? Yeah. We have 10 a.m. news. All right, that's not really something I really care about. So we are going to go to 9:30. 9:30, right? Yeah, fuck it. We'll go to 9:30 here. Hopefully, didn't skip the whole day. All right, bet. All right, here's 9:30. So let's see what we got here. So dropping down to the lower time frames, we see the wick size is pretty nice. So when you have a small wick and then one asset reaching into a high like this, when you have that small wick, this is what allows assets to actually catch up. Whereas if it was like a reversal day with a large wick, it's less likely that this asset will catch up, and it's more likely this S&P will hold, if that makes sense. So when I drop lower, what do we have here? Let's see how the profile formed first of all. Okay, the day opens high first, which is not ideal to be honest. That's not ideal, as you see, opens high first. But what are we doing right here? We're actually reversing. This could be a potential delayed protraction profile. I know I've taught you guys this. It's where the day opens high first. So ideally, how we want these days to form like this, right? We want it to open low first, but this is when the day opens high first, right? And then it comes lower, creates a new daily wick, and actually reverses off of the current day's low like this, right? It still forms that small wick. So that's what we have here. I've already taught you guys this. I've said the mechanical way to do it is to have SMT with something down here, which we don't actually have. So we're going to need some extra confluence here. Yeah, I mean, we have this SMT up here, like I said. And we have this asset actually reversing. All assets are reversing here. If I look at YM though, this is disgusting, honestly. It has all these equal highs. You don't want to see that typically. That's kind of a red flag. So if we are going to reverse though, I'll tell you what, like this needs to happen. It needs to actually reverse like now, dude. I want to see this swing formation, this little SMT right here, expand higher. It needs to do that at 100%. Because we've already reached into this level and we kind of rejected it. So we already have this SMT, like we need to expand right now. So I'm viewing this as like the invalidation point. And I probably wouldn't short this anywhere. I'm not gonna lie. Really depends on how 930 really reacts. So let's look at this here. This is 930, yeah? Yeah, this is 930. So the opening price is always very important how price reacts. Okay, we're expanding right off the rip. That's unfortunate. I think we missed. I mean, there's not really much to trade here. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you can't really trade. You can't really catch this here. Um, so we'll just wait for probably like 10 a.m. or something. I don't want to trade this asset. The weak. You never want to trade the weakest asset. I'm telling you, avoid that at all costs. Right? Until you see some form of strength switching. You want to trade the strongest asset, which would be NQ, or the middle asset. Right? What we can have here though is this asset YM can create an SMT with one of these lows. And if it does do that, then it needs to reverse here ideally. Like this would be the trigger for these assets to expand as well. But still, you don't want to trade this asset ideally. You don't really want to do that. So we have an SMT here right now. What time is it right now? It is, yeah, 9:20, whatever. This looks all right. The only thing that's concerning me is ES, like this super deep retracement. I think we're just gonna wait for like potentially 10 a.m. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, okay. I think YM is gonna come down here because I'm not even viewing this SMT as like that relevant, to be honest, because it's a failure swing to this low. So I want YM to come here, and then we're gonna assess what we're gonna do here. And now it's very important. Now it's extremely important what happens here. If we look at the 5 minute here, this gap, okay. So we already engaged that NQ is the strongest here. We said this asset's kind of struggling. These assets are kind of struggling to go lower, while this asset is at this low. Like we need to see price reverse at this point. That's very, very important. So we see that, okay, look here. This is the opening price of 10 a.m. So we're forming a swing point right now. I honestly think we're going to go higher with this. Just given the, remember we're like leaning bullish by the way, because of the profile, the weekly profile. We're opening low first into this gap, right? Just because we have an SMT here doesn't mean that it's going to reverse. A lot of people think it will. But I think that we're going to get an SMT with this low here. You see this low? Or this 10 a.m. or this 6 a.m. low? So you can have 4-hour SMT. You're going to anticipate it. Look how far NQ and ES are away from this low. So honestly, yeah, I mean, you can really enter right here. You can already anticipate that YM or ES should form its low from these opposing candles, really. Like you can kind of anticipate that. We want to ideally trade this asset being NQ, but we're going to try it on ES. I don't even know how to use TradeZilla that well. So I'm just going to trade, I'm just going to market execute every single trade that we do because I don't really know what to do here. So stop loss can probably go with these bodies here. That's probably safe. Ideally, we take this asset, but it's fine. And then we're going to be targeting these highs. How do I do it? Oh, yeah. And that's fine. Yeah, I like it. Ideally, we trade this asset, but we should be fine. Okay, we get stopped out there, damn. This is going to be super annoying if we get stopped out and it goes in our way because of the stop loss placement. Alright, this is the moment of truth, guys. This CSD right here will be your second entry. If it doesn't work here, then we're not going to trade it. Simple as that. I don't want to miss the entry, though, because there's no 3-minute time frame. I remember that. Okay, that's... let's see if we get an opportunity here. Okay. So, we kind of don't. There's no like propulsion block necessarily. What about the 5-minute? Dude, is that a fucking... Is it a CSD or not? I can't really tell. It's really not. This looks really good for longs. I just don't know where the fuck to enter. 1 minute. We could honestly enter here. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this is gonna hold, but let's keep it mechanical here. Let's just wait for another propulsion block. Yeah. So we're gonna try again on ES potentially. I think would be fine. Yeah, we're gonna try this again on ES and same TP. And look at YM at this point. This looks pretty good. YM at this point is reversing as well. So I think this can be fine to get here. We'll see though. I didn't even set stop loss, sorry. Stop loss would be like, let me go 1 minute. This is just too small. Or this is just too large of stop loss at this low. Right? So you can put it like, same thing I did here. Like, it's going to happen, guys. Like, when you're trading the middle asset, See, I'm trading the middle asset, like, or the weakest asset. You can get wicked out like this, unfortunately, when you put your stop loss at the body. But majority of the time, like, it shouldn't do this. So I always put my stop loss at the bodies typically, but that's just unfortunate that we got stopped out there. But typically, you know, you can put it at the EQ of like this body, for example, because price shouldn't be doing this. It shouldn't be coming all the way down here. Like, I don't really want to see that typically. But this would have been a nice entry as well, guys. This one. But I can't set limits on this bitch. That's fine. That's better hit, bro. Alright, bet. Alright, so we took like one loss there, two trades. That's actually unfortunate as fuck. Like, look. You're joking, bro. That's so annoying. We got stopped out right here. That's actually so stupid. But yeah, anyone have questions about that day? We're probably going to wrap it up here. I know that this asset could probably catch up. YM. So you guys you see how we anticipate SMT? Like, notice I did that on YM here. Just with the bearish close. They're totally two opposite closes. Look, this asset's closing bullish. This asset's closing bearish. So the opening of 10 a.m., they're opening near totally different areas where you can already anticipate that reversal. So that's why I entered that one. This looks better for your practice too. Oh yeah, I have 3 charts open. Any questions? Any concerns? Previous high being swept on ES and NQ. Like, yeah, like this high that we're seeing, like this high, but it's such a like when you have a one-sided narrative, guys, like where the week opens low on all assets, we're having a reversal, we're expanding away, small wick. It doesn't mean that these SMT is gonna hold, right? So when we already set the invalidation. It's like we need to see it reverse here really, because when I look back within this range, it's like we have two things really. When we hit this high up here, because remember SMTs can be retracements or reversals, right? It's either this gap we continue away from, that's the only thing I see relevant, or it's just the current day's low. There's no swing low within this range. So really the relevant low would be like the opening price. We're just like creating a new wick. This is something that I don't really, it's not really that common necessarily, this delayed protraction profile, but it's definitely a thing. So when 930 expands away, that typically will, and remember these highs over here that we saw, very sus on this highs. I already taught you guys that SMT with like failure swings, very sussed out, but we're not going to trade this asset because it's the weakest. Ideally, we want to trade this one, but there was just no, like you could trade this one technically, but I don't know how to fucking set limits. I don't know how to set limits on this. It's going to be a shit show. Like you could have taken this, obviously, because look what 10 a.m. is opening near. It's literally opening near that bulky opposing candle. You see that bulky opposing candle? So 10 a.m. is opening near that. I had that same logic though on this asset, but we got wicked out unfortunately. So this opposing candle, 10 a.m. is opening right near it, but we got wicked out there. Like, yeah, you could have put your stop loss here, but it's whatever. But yeah, let's go to the next day. Oh my gosh. So this is like a Friday? Yeah, it's a Friday. Dude, my mouse is tripping, man. All right, so we just hit an objective. And we see that this asset, YM, is very, very far away. When you have spaced out SMT like this, this is the ones that typically could hold potentially. So we're going to mark this out. So here's some things we want to see, right? If we're going to hold this SMT, like early week, we're going to reverse early week because the SMT got printed on Friday. If we're going to, this asset's going to catch up, we could see something like this where maybe this asset retraces or kind of consolidates early week while this one expands. Like there's only two things that could happen, like literally only two things. So we're just going to go to the next day. We're going to see if we have, okay, with this, clearly it's looking like we're bearish. And price would need to form its high, ideally, from this SMT that we're seeing. Ideally, this SMT holds. We see that this asset over here is bearish. Now, one thing I do see right now, potentially, is this asset is hitting this fair value gap. If we're going to go bullish, though, like this fair value gap is in your validation. So it doesn't look like we reversed. Nah, yeah, this looks disgusting. Like over here, it doesn't really look like a reversal necessarily. So I say like NQ could probably take this low out. This asset over here, as you see, it's taking out this low. So if we're gonna go bullish, guys, what should 930 do? It should go higher, right? But if we're gonna go bearish, then we should rip lower, right? Now what is the high of the day here? 1800 is the high of the day here. Okay. This is very, very decoupled at this point, but we're gonna see what 930 does. It's gonna clear it up for us. We don't have any news this day, right? The 4th Monday. No, we don't. We don't have news until the 5th. Yeah, the 5th. It's 10 a.m. news again. All right. So this is pretty important how we react here, guys. Especially for ES, I feel like, because it's kind of like the middle asset here. So the middle asset will typically tell you what's going to happen. All right. Okay, so you have two assets going long. This one's going short. All right, what this could be, potentially. You guys remember the sequence when SMT breaks? Yeah, so this candle here, this 930 candle, is what just broke this SMT it was once an SMT. It once looked like this. And the fact that 930 is reversing on the weakest asset is a bit concerning if you're bearish. And what could we even trade away from? Like, there's no key levels. 4 hour. The 4 hour is a bit, that candle is quite a bit large. So waiting for 10 a.m. is probably your best bet. But if this is going to be the low, if we're going to reverse, have a bullish day, at least to this high, then this would be your strength switch essentially, where ES is switching strength to catch up to NQ, and this would be the low of the day, or the low of that 4 hour candle typically. So this is what we're looking for, guys, is this reaction on, if this asset over here reacts, typically that means that we could actually potentially see, if you get this propulsion block here, that's a pretty good sign if we're going to go bullish. I like this V shape though on all these assets. That's typically a really good reversal signature. We're going to go to the 1 minute here. We have a 30-minute close here. There's your SMT, by the way. So we know that ES goes from the weakest asset. Now it's printing a bullish close here and a bullish SMT. So we're going to see if we get a close here. I really like this. Yeah. I think it's going to be more of like that consolidation day on NQ actually, or one of these assets, right? Because we have like this 2 days of expansion. So on these like stronger assets, it makes probably sense to just kind of consolidate really. And I think as a short-term target, we can take out the previous high here to catch up, in my opinion, because there's nothing else to target at the lows, by the way, on these assets. That's the thing. When there's nothing to target within this range, see, there's nothing to target. Typically, like, it's going to be very hard to just expand like in one-sided expansion. So if these assets are not going to really expand lower, this asset might have a hard time as well, right? Because if these assets go bullish, or they just like are just bullshitting, consolidating, this one's going to be kind of have a hard time. So yeah, I think we could go bullish here, to be honest. This would be one of those like discretionary entries where you're entering within a driver. You see the wick size on the 4 hour? It's very, obviously pretty freaking large. So on these type of trades, you have to have a driver. You have to be entering within the 6 a.m. candle ideally, because you have a lot of volatility. So you can kind of expand, and you have to kind of enter ideally like late in the candle. So the mechanical way I typically do it is I mark out EQ of the wick size to the low. Ideally my stop loss is in the lower half here, but I don't think that's the case here. Oh, it is actually. Yeah, your stop loss would be right down here. So we're going to try it. I'm going to try to get a limit though. I don't know how to freaking do a limit, guys. I'm not going to lie. How do you do a limit? Place order? Limit. How do I fucking buy? Yeah, I don't know how to do a limit. I'm not going to lie. So, I don't even know, dude. No idea. Holy shit. This is why I didn't want to do this. Maybe like this? Oh yeah, maybe like this. I don't know. Let's try this, guys. I don't know. I hope that fills me. I have no freaking idea. Okay, it's not filling me. Yeah, it's not filling me. Okay, so look at this asset over here. It's kind of struggling over here. Well, YM, the weakest asset, is bullish. This is a pretty good sign. This is going to confuse, I know it's going to confuse a lot of people, but I think we could actually be bullish here to this high. I don't know how to get rid of this, guys. I'm not going to lie. Place order. All right, there, I got rid of it. That's kind of annoying. We're just going to market execute this at this point, to be honest. Because we're already at the order block high there. TP like this. Pretty confident in this trade, to be honest. I don't think we go lower, really. Yeah, now I'm like really confident. Like this is actually really clean here at this point. You might even get like an SMT here while this asset goes higher, but pretty confident, I think. And that's exactly what's going to happen right here, potentially. Oh, it's kind of bullshitting low-key. 5 minute. Okay, now we have 5 minute opposing candle. So 10 a.m. This could be your entry for 10 a.m. for GXT trader. 10 a.m. right here, opening low. This it's opening within a swing point, right? SMT here. You have your CSD. You can enter right here. So this would be your entry for a more a conservative approach. It would be right here. This is very fire. Entry right there. Yeah, we're gonna go here because now NQ is reversing. Like we mentioned, this SMT, like since NQ is struggling, that typically means it just wants to sweep out a low. When that sweeps out a low, that's the trigger for all markets to expand in the same direction. That's all we need is this asset to trade in like somewhat of a direction. Doesn't mean we have to go sweep out these highs or anything like that. But I'm pretty confident here. Okay, it's kind of bullshitting a little bit. But we're leaving equal highs here. Okay, this is like not clean at all, actually. We're just gonna leave it though. I still like this though. This asset over here. Remember that weakest asset is really not really reversing, honestly. We're just in a gap here, right? So NQ is damn near sweeping out a low, while this asset's in a gap. Yeah, we're still like closing pretty nicely here, actually. Now you have an SMT with YM here with that swing point low from that key level. Now we have a 30-minute CSD. I think we should be fine here. Yeah. Okay, now we have an SMT down here. Probably go break even at this point, actually. This is actually pretty shit, but it is that Monday, right, where we don't really expect this asset to really go anywhere. But yeah, if I'm gonna go anywhere, it's gonna be bullish. So yeah, that's a hard day, not gonna lie. Like it's a pretty shit delivery, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Where it's like there's nothing else to target down here, and then we get that strength switch, right? 930 reverses. If we're gonna reverse, we would reverse from this gap, right? So we're already in a gap. There's nothing beyond it, so it's gonna have a very hard time displacing lower, right? And then we're already in this gap prior to the driver, and then we get that sequence. You guys know that sequence where SMT breaks, we got that 930 reverses. So that's why it's like it's pretty one-sided to me, but it's just like it's still, you can still have a one-sided bias necessarily, but still not like that high probable because the previous day expanded. And when you have a previous day expansion, like on Friday, or the previous week expanded, like typically Mondays are lower probability in a ways. But this daily closure is pretty important, like pretty important, because I still don't like all these equal lows on this asset. If this SMT holds, that could be something of substance. So we'll just see how this happens here. Now, if we're going to reverse though, guys, if we're actually going to have a weekly reversal, so like a weekly reversal candle, typically this is when Monday, Tuesday should form the high of the week, right? So what we're seeing here could potentially happen. You guys remember that two-stage SMT where an SMT breaks? So remember this, guys, where one asset trades into high, which creates an SMT, and then the lagging asset actually trades into the high. So that's what we're seeing here. The lagging asset being ES, is trading into this high, where NQ already traded into this high. So this is what you're getting right here, by the way. NQ looks like this, basically, and ES looks like this. So like if we're gonna go lower and have this SMT hold, like it needs to do it like now, basically. But it's too late in the day to anticipate that. So the next day, probably, this is when early on in the day, or early on the next day, because we're forming the reversal so late in the day, or potential reversal. We don't know yet. This is typically when we should just fucking rip the next day. if it's gonna happen, but I don't even know. It's just that this S&P is so spaced out apart. Remember what we said, guys, where if this asset's gonna catch up, I want to see it show strength, which it's not really doing right now with this close, to be honest. So we'll just see. Okay. Yeah, pretty obvious that YM wants to go to these lows, right? And then these assets potentially could retrace back in the range, and now we're just reacting, right? So I assume the previous low. Yeah, this is the previous low on YM, which is very significant. SMT with previous lows, with previous highs, pretty significant. So that's what we have right now, which is the previous week high SMT, which is the trigger for this reversal. This just so happened to be Monday. It was a bit ugly, but we don't have a wick on this asset, which kind of sucks. But let's look at what we have here. All right. Okay, so we have some strength switching going on. I can see instantly. So boom, where these highs are getting taken out, and then you have a strength switch. So check this out on YM here. So this is a trade you could have taken before the driver, honestly, but which is not. Wait, fuck. Is there news? Tuesday. What day is it? Tuesday the 5th. 10 a.m. again. Damn. So there's no news this day, or there is. It's 10 a.m. So if we're gonna go lower, this is kind of ass. I hate this when we open up the driver and we're just in the very low of the day, basically. This is when like we can get retracements. If it just rips lower, I don't like to catch these because you're already so low in the range. Like I want to be positioned a little bit higher. You know what I'm saying? So I would want the driver to do something, but there's not really much to do, to be honest. Like maybe these gaps or something. We'll just see. Maybe 10 a.m. will provide something. Let's see. We're not really opening up within a swing point necessarily. We are in a candle 4, but again, it's just too low in the freaking range. This SMT here, I don't think it's relevant because the daily candle is already huge. Now, if this is going to be a low day, it needs to hold right here, but we may see the driver just straight up, basically, what do you call it? Break this SMT essentially. Honestly, I would want to do it instantly actually because we already have a strength switch right here. I'd want to see this rip lower. Okay, nice. Yeah, rip lower. Let's see though. Yeah, this is probably a day we skip, I'm not gonna lie. Unless 10 a.m. does something. We're gonna wait for 10 a.m. news. But I don't think we're gonna get anything, guys. Let's go over to these assets. So YM just hit its objective. Yeah, this day is huge. This day's range is just insane already. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna trade this, guys. Now, what we do have though, we have YM all the way at this low. We have NQ at this low, and then YM or ES has not traded into this low. So what I would need to see here to trade ES as a lagging asset to get to this low is 10 a.m. It needs to first of all, it needs to expand away. But the thing is, this wouldn't be a swing point, I don't think, right? There's technically no swing point. Yeah, so we're just gonna taper this, but what you would want to see is the NQ failed to make like this low, so ES can catch up to here, right? So we're just gonna taper it. Really, I want to tell you like if there's something that forms. So this Judah swing at 10 a.m. right? I need to see this be our order block here, and we're not gonna long this, by the way. We're not gonna long this because of this profile here. This profile. I mean, if it is gonna be long though, like what needs to hold, guys? This order block here. That would need to hold, right? Okay, instantly fails. So this now, yeah. So this would need to hold, right? Boom. If we're gonna go lower. Okay, this would be like a C2. It's actually a C2 from a key level. Like we could actually trade this. I mean, so what we see is the NQ is failing to manipulate this low. This is exactly what I was talking about. We'll just take it. Fuck it. Yeah, we'll just take it. So look at this asset over here. Remember the strongest asset, guys, being YM. It traded into this daily low, and now it's the strongest asset technically because it hasn't even CSD'd yet. We're seeing the weaker assets are CSDing to potentially catch up, right? Especially, I'm using this narrative of SMTs and relevant lows. This asset's failing to manipulate. Now, here's the thing about this. I'm probably just going to go for 2R because the daily range is already huge. So we're going to take this just because. It's going to be a C2 candle here. So 10 a.m. open, high, low, close. If there's gonna be high titanium, it's gonna form here, right? Like it's gonna do it if it's gonna be a bearish day. But ideally, I wanna retest, bro. Ideally, I wanna retest, but I'm just gonna enter here. I'm putting my stop loss like probably some breaker. You could do it here, here, whatever. Hopefully, it doesn't bite us in the ass. But yeah, we're gonna go for like 2R around there. So I know this is not 2R, guys, but ideally I want to retest. Let's see if we get a retest. Okay, you would not even got a retest, so I'm not even sure if I would take this in real life because this stop loss is huge. Unless you're gonna, like I said, this is like the breaker block technically. You guys know I don't put my stop loss at I don't put my stop loss way up here. There's no point. Like, yeah, we got stopped out on that one trade on ES, but dude, like. I like 80% of the time or more, like it's not gonna come back to these levels if it's a true reversal. So it would look more like something like this. That's definitely like 2R, but we'll see if we get this trade here. Okay, boom. And I wouldn't be anticipating like maybe NQ can get here, but ES probably won't get here. You know, maybe NQ could just get down just low, but not ES. And the daily range is huge. Like this is huge, so I think that's fine. Like, it's a fine entry. Using drivers, both drivers expanding away from the high of the day. We're using asset synchronization and just looking at triads, right? I'm telling you, when you look at one triad, it's like telling what the other assets are gonna do. If that triad fails to manipulate, the other assets should catch up if you see certain things, right? So we're gonna skip this next day, but it looks like that NQ and ES also want to potentially trade into this lows that we're seeing, which is the previous week's low, right? So we're going to look for a profile to support that. So with that daily close, it looks like we did not trade into these lows, actually. So this leaves a potential objective. Now, I don't like this big retracement higher, I'll tell you that. I really don't like that. This might even be like a consolidation day. That would make some sense. But where's the daily open? Oh, wow, look at this, guys. Look at the previous day close. Had this nice V shape, right? And then 1800 opened low. And we're expanding away. That is not this is not a bearish signature. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't feel too comfortable trading away from these lows just yet. If I want to be here's how you trade away from relevant lows. Like there needs to be something that we like the invalidation level that fails. But to me, we don't have anything relevant to the left. It's just fair value gaps. What's really concerning right now is it's just the expansion back in the range. But if we do something like this, if you form a high, this high should be the reversal point to go lower. And then if we trade into this high and then fail to manipulate it or something, that would be, then we could trust it to go higher, if that makes sense. So then like this is going to create like a opposing candle or a fair value gap that should hold to go higher. That's just like the if-then scenarios, but it's a bit weird. So if this is 9:30, right? I forgot to check news, damn. 666. 10 a.m. news again. Dude, damn. Just 10 a.m. news all week. And tomorrow we got 10 a.m. news. What the fuck? Bro, that's crazy. But anyways, we have 2 sessions expanding. Here's the thing. Like, you can't long this, I don't think, in my opinion. Not this high in the range because, again, it's just like this day on Monday. There's nothing to target. It's just fair value. It's just like, it's not going to get anywhere significant. So, in my opinion, we probably go lower, but not a huge, I don't know, it's going to be weird. It's going to be very weird. If we're going to go higher, I don't know, this is such a weird day. But 10 a.m., basically 9:30 needs to reverse now if we're going to go lower. And I think it makes sense to go lower, to be honest. And then we can set invalidations for longs. For example, like this gap. Like, so I already showed you guys this before. Maybe I haven't, I don't know. But when an asset trades, or not an asset, when a market trades away from the opening price of a candle, it can be any candle. So it can be like, pretend this is Asia lows, for example. It doesn't matter. This is Asia low day. It just expands away from the open. This can be the weekly open. Maybe it expands away from Monday's open. It's going to create invalidation levels for continuation. So either that's a swing low, a relevant swing low, a fair value gap, to where like if we're going to continue away from that Monday low or Asia low, this would need to hold because it's a key level that's positioned above that current daily low or high, right? So that would need to hold. So for example, this is something we're going to go over like within profiling, maybe a stream on profiling, but typically like this is gonna need to hold. So maybe if like I was saying earlier, like if we're gonna leave these lows, like this needs to hold, but it's not gonna go anywhere significant today. So if we're gonna long, it's gonna be lower probability, but it's gonna be on the pullback if we even get it, like some shit like that. But we're not gonna long this up here. I can tell you that. So 930 needs to reverse, and it would have to be a C2 closure because it had to be a C2 reversal into expansion candle because there's no C2 candle, right? So 930 needs to fucking reverse now, right? You can pretty much anticipate this. I honestly think it's gonna come like either EQ of this range you see here or just hit this fair value gap. Because it can't expand forever. Asia and London already expanded, so yeah, I would be pretty one-sided bearish here, to be honest. And ideally, like this first CST is that retracement, to be honest. So if you guys want me to be more advanced, and I do take trades like this, but sometimes I don't post them all because they're like more discretionary, right? There's a lot of things that go into it. So like here, like yeah, I want this to hold pretty much to go lower. This is your invalidation level for retracement, basically. This needs to hold. All assets are doing it, so that's a really good sign. All assets are expanding lower, so this probably means we're gonna go lower, honestly. All right, so now this swing formation that you see here, or whatever this like opposing run here, this needs to create a CSD lower. It needs to do that. I like this. I like ES honestly right here because it's showing way more weakness right now. Or honestly YM too, but YM doesn't have an opposing candle. So if you maybe get this or something, maybe you can take that, but it's just a bit harder, like because you don't know where to target, guys. Like on a day like this, I can tell you it's not gonna go. It's really unlikely to go down here to the current day's low. So like this fair value that we talked about, I think it's gonna close soon actually. Like you need to be TPing it somewhere in here, but if you don't get 2R, which I'm not liking these opposing candle sizes, they're freaking huge. If you get this, is this 2R? Hell no. Something like that maybe. It's gonna be hard though, potentially. Okay, yeah, like maybe you can enter that. So the trend kind of switched. It's a bit weird. So obviously, like we had this deeper retracement here, but then we CSD'd first. It's a bit weird. So yeah, that could be a potential entry, but I don't know how to set limit orders. Now it's just low probability in my opinion. I don't know what to do here, honestly. We're just inside barring. I think it's gonna be inside bar day. That's why I say this. Previous high is really far. Previous low is really far. It's not going to go to previous high because it's too far away, and we're not going to go to previous low because the wick size, I think, in my opinion. So you only have one option here. It's either just do nothing or let me analyze this real quick. All right, so we have an SMT with gap here with YM, so potentially we could go higher. But again, it needs to form now. Oh yeah, 10 a.m. news. We have 10 a.m. news. So 10 a.m. news needs to revert. If we're going to go long, 10 a.m. news needs to go long, guys. Ideally, right? If it doesn't do that, okay, it's not doing that. I'd probably fuck off here. Not gonna lie. 10 a.m. Yeah, we're just gonna leave this alone. Let's do the first swing point though. I'm just curious to see if we actually go down here. I just feel like we're not. Okay, look at this though. Look at this. Where is it? Hold on. Boom, guys, look. We're getting this right here. So in Q, trade it into this low. I didn't even think about this, sorry. We're just going so fast, you can skip some things, some back testing. But look here, this same swing low failed to manipulate on in Q. You see that? Failed to manipulate in Q. ES just trade into it, which breaks the SMT. We know this is a reversal signature. Look at the third asset. It's creating an SMT here. This is a very strong reversal signature. I love this sequence. So it looks verbatim, it looks like exactly like this. Here's NQ, here's ES, here's YM. So if we're going to go higher, it needs to form right here. This needs to be the low right here. Okay? It's just like this as well. I just look over here, like this thing, same thing I talked about here. This is the relevant low that we're seeing on ES above that opening price on 1800. Exactly, right? Look at 1800. It's down here. Here's a relevant low. We're having that reversal sequence at that relevant low, where 10 a.m. is actually expanding into it. Now we're having a reversal. Honestly, dude, you can slap this. I'm not gonna lie. On ES or YM. YM is a little freaking gross right now, though. I don't like all this like wicks and shit. Let me see. Either I don't want to trade NQ. Ideally, I want to trade ES or YM. 1 minute. I just want to see something. Talk to my TT about my problem. Yeah, I'd like. You can't really go wrong here. I'm not gonna lie. Can't go wrong here. We're just gonna tape read it, but I want to take this entry. I'm not gonna lie, but I think we're gonna go to high, guys. So I think we're gonna go high. Let's see what we do. Okay, look at this strength switch. Boom. I'm actually taking this now. You can honestly enter right here. Like you can enter right here if you wanted to, but we'll wait for the CSD. Fuck it. If we get it. Yep, I'm entering that. Yes, this is free as fuck. To this high, like this is a free scalp. Again, I almost like guarantee it. I feel like we obviously want the whatever you call it, the retest here. So like this is a bit weird. Where's 2R at? 2R is right here. Hold on. 2R. Boom. So you're gonna put your stop loss right here. Boom. That's 2R. So you do something like that. I honestly really think we go higher. Yeah, that's just. Isn't that crazy, dude? Like this is actually insane. This shit still blows my mind. But this is a bit weird weekly profile, honestly, because we have the weekly SMT here, and now we're getting a reversal signature away from it. So this closing really needs to, we need to see what happens here, because it really depends what this high forms here, because we could do this, right, go lower. It's just so weird. Yeah, that's the only thing. If we're gonna go lower, like here's your invalidation. It's gonna be the previous high, because it's gonna close near the range high probably. So we'll see what happens here. All right, we come into a session and we took out the previous day's low. Interesting. Oh wow, look at this, guys. Late in the day, we had a reversal. Nah, bro, this is actually insane, dude. Guys, you can't make this shit up. I'm gonna replay this real quick. What do we have here, guys? We already know that price is not. This is very logical too. We already know that price is not gonna go up here, right? So when we engage with this high here, this swing point, this is the only relevant high within the range. What happens? What do we see? We see that NQ or ES over here fails to manipulate it. NQ fails to manipulate it, and then YM hits it. So what is the sequence? The same shit I just went over. What's a bit different? It's just this one, right? Where a lagging asset trades this high. When you trade this high, what do you want to see? Some form of SMT. That's what we had right here. Boom. And then we trade back into the range because we know it's not going to expand really far. So like we don't know where it's going to close, because it's not going to go like this. It's a bit weird, to be honest, because we know it's not going to go much higher. Like this makes sense to cap off the daily range, right? But we know it's not going to go to the pre-stage low. So it's a bit weird. So you can scalp it like back into this range, but that's just some like advanced scalping shit. And you see that price goes lower. Actually crazy though. So I'm telling you, these sequences I show you guys is like, it's pretty insane. But anyways, let's go to this day. First off, do we have any news on Thursday? Let's check. Sorry if I'm not checking chat, guys. I'm just kind of getting through this stuff. I want to complete a full week for you guys. Thursday. Wait, what day is Thursday? Thursday the 7th. Oh yeah, we had 10 a.m. news, right? So 10 a.m. news again. I mean, kind of annoying. I wish we had 8:30 news this week to show you guys some like pairing of drivers and whatnot, but it's unfortunate. We had some pairing. We had 10 a.m. news yesterday, but yeah. Anyway, this is fucking weird. Okay, we have SMT here. Normally I wouldn't view this as a relevant low. Guys, I would not view this as a relevant low coming into the day. I wouldn't be like, oh, if you sweep this low out, we're going to be bullish. I wouldn't view that. But when we actually trade into it and then have an SMT and then price actually expands away from it, okay, and it's like then you can trust it. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be situations like that all the time where it's like you don't know if we can trade away from these failure swings or whatever. Maybe you have SMT there and then price actually expands away and then fails to find support maybe at this high right here. Because if we're going to go lower, like this high needs to be manipulated to go lower, or maybe EQ this range, but obviously we're just freaking expanding right through it. So that's kind of, bro, you can't make this shit up, guys. Like, look right here. What do we have right here prior, guys, in SMT? wherever it is, right? We can clearly see these assets are doing what? They're creating lower lows. As soon as this asset breaks the SMT, that's the trigger for reversal. So I don't like just lie to you guys. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I give this away for like free because it's generally so good. But anyways, like we have that V-shaped signature. We have an SMT fill right here. So if you're trading at 8 o'clock, this is fucking fire. Holy shit. 8:15. This looks like news, but there's no news. I'm so confused. This looks beautiful right here to trade. But anyways, I don't think we're going to get a position here. I'm not going to lie. Because we're just so far away. Or we're already expanded. Actually, ES could potentially go here, actually. Yeah, ES is the strongest asset. It's closest to the daily highs here. So that would be my objective here. I would really focus on ES. So 930 needs to do what? Remember what we talked about earlier? If 930 is in expansion, like look at the daily range right now. It's in expansion. So I want to see 930 like trade lower, like, and then go higher. That's what I always want to see. That's what happens most of the time. You're not going to get like these huge expansion all in a row. Like you're going to have like some sort of retracement. It can be slight too. There's nothing to trade into though. I'm not going to lie. Like there's nothing to trade into. There's no gaps. This is kind of weird. This might be a skip day, but we'll taper read it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This retracement lower needs to actually reverse price, low-key. Or like, it needs to like hit, I don't know, like to hit something. Okay, boom. Like one asset needs to hit something. So here we are. NQ is trading into some relevant levels. You know, it's trading back in the range. That's all I want to see, really. Yeah, so, I mean, we need to reverse here, pretty much. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, we're not trading this. This is so close to the high. I mean, you could trade. Yeah, this look good. This V shape, I love this. But dude, the RR here is disgusting. Like, what the hell am I gonna take here, man? I can't take this. So, you need to like this fair value gap potentially. So we're gonna do the same thing. Like, we have the CSD, yeah, CSD, yeah. You can already assume that if 10 AM is gonna go higher, what it doesn't make sense to do is this. I had a trade like this week where the driver is opening near, like, so it's opening so close to a high that it doesn't make sense to retrace before we hit the high. So I don't expect 10 AM to do some shit like this when we're so close to the high. I don't expect some deep retracement. We're so close to high, it should just rip, right? So if we're opening near some level that 930 created with an SMT, this bulky opposing candle, it's a large enough range. So if I mark out this whole opposing, or this retracement in general, and if I, okay, I don't know why it's not showing, hold on. What? Why is that showing? Oh yeah, it is, sorry. Yeah, if I mark out this whole range, this would be our stop loss, by the way. It's at this low around there. If I mark out EQ of the previous candle's range, look, it's literally right there. So that 5-minute low is your invalidation for 10 AM continuation. You see that? So when you're opening near something like this, you can typically enter on it, but here, you know, actually, yeah, like you can enter this pretty much. I don't know how to set limits, so we're just gonna pretend we entered this, right? Because I don't know how to do it. We'll see what happens here. I'm pretty confident. Again, you can enter this. I really don't like these entries though. I'm not gonna lie, it's so high in the range, but just logically, like it's gonna go from here. If it's gonna go, you know, this is where invalidations come in. Yeah, like look, that's pretty easy there. Yeah, that's just a really nice day. It's such a weird weekly range, honestly, but you know, when we have this SMT, we expand away. So when you have an SMT and you actually expand away, like this is why I expect drivers to expand away. When you actually do that away from a true reversal like that, that validates the reversal. So when you have a true reversal, you have to go somewhere in the form of like highs and lows always. So what's the form of this is the high and low, right? It's this. So we're probably just gonna skip this day because maybe NQ can catch up, but where's NQ at? Yeah, I think he's quite far. We're probably just gonna end this day, but let's see what happens here. Yeah, there's some opportunities. Oh yeah, look here, guys. Damn. Whoops. So you have some strength switching going on. So yeah, there's opportunities always, right? There's gonna be opportunities, but I'm not trying to catch everything. But yeah, we didn't really take anything there, but we just taper it. But so NQ probably gonna catch up there. It just makes sense for NQ to catch up there, whether it's today or tomorrow, since all assets reversed. Now let's look at, hold on, let's look at YM. So YM is not going to get here. It's just not going to fucking happen. YM is not getting here to this high in the same week, but NQ definitely could. So, oh, this could be a delayed. This could be a delayed. This actually makes a lot of sense. This could be delayed protraction week, just like we saw on Friday right here. It could happen here because look at the weekly candle at this point. We have traded very far away from the opening price. So if we come back to the current high of the week and have this SMT, this spaced out SMT that we talk about, and we have this lagging, this is if like NQ catches up. I think it will, because we know that ES has an SMT here. So when NQ breaks it, we could do what? We could reverse potentially. I think that makes more sense. It's not going to. It's just like this week on NQ on Friday. There's this logic, right? Where the daily range or the weekly range, sorry. Like we can't have this huge weekly expansion past the opening price. It's the same for the daily. So if I'm gonna trade tomorrow, I'm gonna trade bearish. So let's see what happens here. So we already have. Okay, so this is a bit weird. I don't like this. NQ, like coming this high in the range, that's pretty ass. I'm not gonna cap. Oh, we had news. 8:30. Great. I skipped it. Whoops. Oh, it's NFP. Oh, bet. So NFP. So let's go to the. Hold on. This looks interesting, actually. I still think we can go higher. Yep, we can. Because now you have a strength switch here. So we know that this asset's a lagging asset, NQ. And what do we have here, guys? An SMT. Printed at 8:30. So what should 9:30 do? It should expand, right? So yeah, that's what we're gonna. This looks really good. If we can have some sort of thing here, but this you got to be careful though because you can't expect a big range to stay. Remember, so we need a TP at this high, in my opinion, more than likely. But hold on, let's go to the 3-minute. I don't want to skip this, guys, at 9:30. It might just. I honestly think we're gonna get missed here, to be honest. If I go to the 30-minute, maybe. Yeah, like. I think potentially like one of the assets could trade into this gap, whether it's all of them or one of them. I think it might just rip without us. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see though. Okay, so yep, we're having NQ trade to the gap, forming an SMT. This would be sick if this holds, but I think it's just gonna rip. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Yeah, it might just rip, bro. Wait, 5-minute, 3-minute. Okay, it's. I mean, the other assets are reversing, so. You could potentially trade this on other assets, but I don't want to trade on YM because I want to trade on NQ because it's the one that trades. It's the one that's close to this high. So this is like very important that I just want to trade NQ honestly. So we're having a SMT here. So we didn't really expand like I thought. I thought we were just gonna rip. I'm not gonna lie. But as soon as we get some close that we can trust, I would probably take this. Okay, NQ, ES is really, yeah, it's just going to leave us, bro. That's unfortunate. I'm not going to take this, though. It's just like, the RR is not there. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe I could have taken ES. Maybe I made a mistake there. I guess I could have, but, yeah, I guess I could have, bro, but it is what it is, but that's fine. So I missed that. Now, this is like the moment of truth, to be honest, because I don't think this is very logical to long still. Look at the weekly candle. Doesn't make any sense. So what we have here is two sequences right now. You have ES. We traded into this previous high a long time ago. A long time ago. You see that? So right now we have YM trading to this previous high right now. This is like a wickless candle too. It's a bit weird, but I think bearish just makes most sense. Like now, ideally, like. Now. So like this next candle needs to do what? It needs to like form this damn wait, what time is it? It's 10 a.m. Okay, so 10 a.m. This needs to be a 10 a.m. reversal, in my opinion. So we're gonna wait for like a 30-minute close. Okay, we're only getting that on what do you call it? This asset over here on fucking what do you call it, dude? This asset. It's just so weird because I'm not expecting this one to expand much further. The week daily range is like it's not gonna go down here. I guarantee it. This asset that you're seeing on NQ or YM, it's not gonna go down here. It's not gonna do it. I already know it's not gonna do it. Maybe it goes to current day's low, but I don't think it does that either, bro. I think we go back into the range and that's it. But I don't know how far. Let me just see the reversal signature here. So we're having that expansion here. Let's just wait for propulsion block. That's the first step, right? Okay, this is really good. All assets are expanding away. This is really good. Yeah, I think we're gonna go lower. I just don't know I don't know how far. It really depends on the momentum here. All right, so we're retracing. So this is where we want to see what a propulsion block form, and this would form the high of our 30-minute candle. Well, right now on this asset we're having a it would form the high of this C3 over here, but I'm just gonna let's just wait for this close. 3-minute. Let's wait for this closure. So 30-minute hourly. Do you have an hourly close yet? What the fuck? What's this hourly close? Oh, like right now. All right, bet. So a new hourly candle opens right now, and it's already opening up within. So we have the reverse signature we need. So it's already opening. I don't really want price to come way up here, because if price comes up here on NQ, it's gonna come up here on ES. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see this deep retracement. We already see that ES is the strongest asset. We want to avoid this, probably. We want to either trade this asset or this asset. But right now, we're having a divergence here with this asset. You seeing here? So really, like, I want to see it just rip, probably. Okay, we're forming this SMT. I don't really like this right now. We need to reverse like ASAP, dude. Not gonna lie. So yeah, I don't know. We might just avoid this. I think it's just so logical to go lower. Okay, that's a really nice close. Now we're seeing NQ and ES are the weakest close right now. Look at YM. This is what I mean with YM. It's like, it's just hard. It doesn't make sense to go all the way down here, honestly. With the weekly range already expanded. So this is when you see like strength switching, where like these assets on NQ and ES will like be a little bit weaker to kind of. It's not gonna catch up to this asset like way lower in the range, but you know what I mean. We'll just try it. This is the last trade of the day. This is the last trade of the stream. We're going to try it. I just don't know how far we're going to go, dude. Sometimes we're like SMT, like, you know, when let me just draw this up real quick. Let me full screen on NQ because this is what we're going to take. Sometimes when you have something like this, for example, something like this, where you have an SMT like this, and then price trade into a high, and then you reverse off this high. Sometimes broken SMT can be a draw on liquidity because this asset being NQ actually has failure swings here. And just because you have an SMT down here, this is where a lot of people go wrong. They think just because you have an SMT, it's going to hold for the long while. But what you have to understand is this SMT did its job. We reversed here and we expanded into an objective. So when you expand into an objective, what can we get? A new phase of price, right? So then if you get a reversal signature, which is what we are getting, we could potentially draw to here. I just don't know where. This is literally how NQ looks right now, by the way. I don't know if it's going to go how far into this range or if it's actually going to break here. I don't know. That's where it's a little bit hard to anticipate, to be fair. But this momentum looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. We have data low down here. We're just going to freaking enter it. Like, let me stop yapping. If we lose, whatever. We'll go for like 2R. So 2R is going to be... Like, I'm confident that we're going to go lower. I just don't know how far. It's going to do two things, guys. It's going to come down to these lows, or it's going to just stay in between this range. It kind of be like a consolidation day. Those are the only two things it's going to do. I think this can be the higher day, though. I really think it is. But we'll see. Nice. I mean, fuck. I mean, with this momentum, shit, these lows look really good. We're going to take a partial here. Wait, let's hit 2R. Okay, there it is. Probably 75% just because it's lower probability day. And at this point with this momentum, yeah, it's looking pretty good. The momentum already looked like pretty damn decent, but yeah, it's gonna go there now. Yeah, nice, dude. And that's really, really logical, right? Because look at the weekly candle. What did we do? It's like Monday. It's a delayed protraction profile, right? So that was just fire, and that's that SMT breaking. Damn, that was just clean as fuck, dude. That was clean, dude. This is a hard week, guys. This is kind of a hard week. It's not an easy week because, right, we opened low for... It's just fucking weird, right? It's a very weird week. This reversal, I wouldn't be anticipating, but you kind of have to trust it when it happens, when it actually expands away. But yeah, that's just really good. You guys see the things I teach. I mean, it's there every time, right? No, we took a loss. But you guys see the logic, right? I'm not just like, I don't know, I'm not just like guessing. Like, I'm looking at the other assets, like the sequences, the drivers, like these all SMTs, they all play a big factor, and they're very important. The phases of price, all that shit. It's a combination of things. But we'll probably wrap it up here, guys. I'm sure you guys can hear a fucking vacuum right now. Can you guys hear that vacuum? Sorry, dude. But honestly, guys, like when 830 manipulates, this like buy is like the buy and sell here, extremely logical in my opinion. Especially the buy, obviously, because this asset's so close to the high, right? And then we have this SMT, that strength switch. Look, we have an SMT here, and now an SMT here. That's that strength switch. It's just I picked the wrong asset here. Looks like that's my one mistake here. I could have picked ES, and we actually could have caught this. We missed this long right here. I think it's very logical. Because what do we have here, guys? We have this SMT. We have a gap. So when you create a gap from SMT, this is very high probable, right? And 930 is opening near this gap. So I want 930 to trade into the gap, and it has an SMT here, and it reverses. It's verbatim how we talk about price action, right? Like literally. If I go to ES here as well, look what we're opening near on right before the driver. What are we opening near, guys? These equal lows. Right, so while this asset manipulates, it's just so that in Q, so we have SMT on both sides essentially. So this is what I mean, like you have an SMT here, so people are going to be like, oh, it's a bearish day, but it did its job. This SMT did its job. It expanded into low. What phase of price are we getting here? We're getting a reversal with the SMT here. So it's a bit weird. My price just moves from SMT to SMT, literally. So SMT, I'm telling you guys, the most important concept for filtering price. But the framework, the logic is first, right? That's really what's first, right? But anyways, guys, I'll probably end the stream here. And yeah. I was going to stay on and do some recaps. Hold on, let's go over NQ real quick because a lot of people are confused and I didn't get to a recap here. But this makes sense too, guys. This is very logical for longs because look here. So the weekly candle. This is a very good week, by the way. So Monday, Tuesday, very, very weird because Monday, what did we do? We kind of just bullshit around. I actually did I take a loss on Monday? Yeah, I did, right? Did take a loss on Monday. Did I, guys? Yeah, I did. I took a loss and a win. Yep, right here. It only makes sense to go lower on Monday, right? Why does it make sense to go lower on Monday? Well, look at the previous day's close. Dude, this vacuum, bro. Like, oh my god, bro. Bro, I'm just going to end this. This is just annoying. I'll catch y'all later, man.